Hey guys, and welcome to the True Believer. I'm your host, the Mighty MCU Man, and we've got a lot of catching up to do with the Empire event, issues 1 through 5. So, issue 1 kind of starts off with the Fantastic Four coming across this Kree-Skrull alliance fleet. And after their recent adventure, Reed tells his kids to take the pretty much the last hope of both of their races to Earth and secure them while they investigate what's happening. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the Avengers are kind of setting up shop. Well, not setting up shop, but they're kind of gearing up to take on this Kree-Skrull fleet because the Cortati had made it to convince them that they are the victims in this situation while the Fantastic Four are investigating. Hulkling kind of tells them differently. The Cortati wants to kill people. And the Avengers and the Fantastic Four are coming into this entire misunderstanding, and they pretty much both parties engage one another, and it's a really interesting fight, I would say, in the sense that we get more action in this issue. You know, as the Avengers being what they are today, and the Fantastic Four doing their best. The Fantastic Four don't really get involved with the fight, and the big three aren't in the fight. They kind of hung back. But there's a really cool moment wherein Thor throws his hammer and Hulkling stops it with the Star Sword. Didn't do very much because Iron Man kind of hacked the Kree-Skrull Alliance server or whatever, and Koi then reveals that, hey, Koi being Swordsman and Mantis' son, that we were actually the bad guy the entire time and we're still attacking Earth. We're going to make Earth pretty much, we're going to make up with stuff on Earth. And then in issue 2, there's, issue 2, this event just keeps getting better. As we see the Avengers have been taken hostage, or just imprisoned. But we go through the history of Koi and Swordsman, and why the Kotati are doing what they're doing, being victims of the Kree and the Skrull. Well, being victims of the Kree, and it circles back to Incoming with the trees, beware the trees, sort of ominous line, and we see a lot as the Avengers are kind of like. They pretty much got all the explanation they needed, and they pretty much bust out of their prison. And they're headed back to Earth. They are in no mood. Black Panther and the Avengers they're en route back to Earth, and they're kind of setting up a battle plan to take on the Kotati. They don't know if they could really count on the Kree, but they're going to do their best. Which then we transition to Hulkling, and he's pretty much, Hulkling and Tanalith have pretty much promoted Captain Marvel to Kree Accuser. While that's happening, we see the invasion of Earth has already erupted. The Avengers are pretty much all separated, and they're pretty much taking their own approach into this invasion. While we see the agents of Wakanda and the Wakandan Guard getting ready for the Kotati in a very endgame-like fashion, as they pretty much beat their way through the entire army. Black Panther, She-Hulk, and Invisible Woman meet with Mantis to try and help her convince her son that what he's doing is wrong. Elsewhere, we kind of see that Captain Marvel and the Kree and the Skrull are talking about a new weapon, as Hulkling kind of sends his Star Sword to the Black Panther at Black Panther's request. Another weapon is brought up, and it's called the Pyre. The Pyre is a weapon that had to deal with the Kotati in the past, and Skrull plans to use it to eradicate the Kotati and Earthlings alike. This is something that Hulkling doesn't initially agree with, but he comes back into the room, but we know it's Skrull, and she pretty much is saying hey, nah, you guys, the the pyre is going to be initiated, and if you don't believe me, check my DNA. And then it's Teddy Altman. A fight breaks out, a big one, and it gets to the point where a sorceress, like a Kree sorceress, sends, well, a Skrull sorceress, excuse me, sends them to Wiccan, Billy Kaplan, and Billy hears the entire thing, but he's not really convinced it's him. But then Tony is kind of getting frustrated and fed up with the whole situation, while Black Panther is fighting through like dozens of plant people. And, Mantis is trying to talk to her son while this is all happening. Her son isn't really like in the mood to listen. He doesn't want anything to happen. But it got to the point where he activated a secret weapon, which is She-Hulk, who betrays her team, but not really, because she's dead. They pretty much took She-Hulk. They saw the power within her, and in a really interesting moment, Mantis begs Koi to stop, and that didn't go so well. He's regretful, but at the end of that issue, Billy and, I would say, Teddy got married. Going into the next issue, where we see how their wedding went, and why we're kind of going over this. It is possibly one of the most wholesome moments in this book. I really do like how they went here. And because, Wiccan's kind of fed up with the Kree-Skrull alliance, we see that he pretty much takes Captain Marvel and the Human Torch back to the ship. While meanwhile, things kind of get in his ass beat by She-Hulk. And this kind of like inspires him, because he's not going to like lose this fight. He knows that there's a lot of people depending on him, just like the Black Panther, who is fighting this Kotati army, and he even has a really cool moment where he's just going through like these guys with the Star Sword. But it all gets interrupted as the Kotati get to the vibranium-rich soil, and kind of like Swordsman stabs him in the back. Kills him. Not really, but we know why. Only for the Kree-Skrull alliance to have some sort of only for Billy to kind of get back up on the ship and tell them like, hey, that's not my husband, knock it off, you guys are trying to kill us, get out of here. And that was one of the most interesting moments. But another interesting moment comes in the form of the Fantastic Four. Well, Iron Man and Reed Richards trying to say, like, we have to save the world 2 times over. This is not going to work. And, I have to say, this entire event is really exciting me. And I kind of want more. So tell me what you guys think in the comments below. And please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.